Hey, this is Daryl Gibbs. We're here at the Dunlap Coke Museum. What's your name, sir?
My name's Carson Camp. I'm the Vice President of the Sequatchie Valley Historical Association, and I'm also the historian. So I'm supposed to know the history.
There's a lot of history here, isn't there?
There's a lot of history. This is a very historic location. Originally, this was the mining operation that had a lot to do with the development of Dunlap, Sequatchie County. Nationwide, coke was a product used to make the steel industry. So the Industrial Revolution required coke, and coke was what made the railroad rails and the steel for buildings and all those things, and the modern automobile. But the Trail of Tears is actually involved with the park. We found out some years ago that the original road for the Cherokee Indians when they went to Oklahoma, based on a diary that a missionary kept that was traveling with the Cherokee, they stayed one night on this ground. We know that for a fact, and it's certified, and actually the chief of the Cherokee Nation came here some years ago to see, because this is considered one of the most pristine sections of the Trail of Tears. The roadbed is still visible because the present day modern highways bypass that going up the mountain. So, and then Civil War things went on here too when they raided Wheeler's Raid. If you look in the history books, you will see a mention of Hill Road, and this is the road that goes to the park. So this is a very historic location. We're on the National Register for the Trail of Tears and for the coke oven grounds, and the coke ovens are on the National Register as well.
What's the difference between coke and, say, coal?
Coal is a very dirty, usable fuel, but it has a lot of impurities in it, and such as tar and oil and all the impurities that would not make good steel. Coke is burned coal. The best way to describe it, I tell everybody, it's charcoal made from prehistoric trees, because coal is actually the prehistoric forest of years ago.
Right.
It is just like you would take wood today and make charcoal for your grill. That is modern trees turned into almost the same thing. It's about 90-something% carbon. But it burns cleanly. Coke burns at very high temperatures, and it actually puts carbon in the high-grade metal, so it strengthens the iron.
I think it's very interesting that you have a lot of trees here that are petrified, I guess you would call. It's really neat that you have some of those things that you can actually see the bark in the rocks.
You can see all types of tree indentations. I send kids up here all the time. They come and they want to know where they can find fossils, and anywhere in Coops Creek that flows through the park. It comes from the mines. They used to dump the waste material from the coal mines in the slag heaps into the creek, and it will wash down to as far as Dunlap here. And if it's gray or red rock, if you split those layers apart, you will find hundreds of fossils of plants, and we have plenty in the museum for the kids. I used to take a truckload of those to Kettner's Mill and the other country fairs, Fall Creek Falls, and we would bust them apart and show the ferns to the kids, and they were always fascinated. But those are a common everyday thing around here. But under this mountain on the Cumberland Plateau, Walden Ridge as well, just above the sandstone bluffs is a layer of coal, and that used to be a swamp at one time.
Right.
When the oceans were covering the United States in this part of the country. That is a petrified forest exists just like out west. Out in Arizona, I believe is where the petrified forest is. We have a petrified forest here, except our topsoil has not washed away.
Right.
But if we were to lose all the trees and all the dirt wash away, on top of these mountains would be a petrified forest just like you see out west.
Well, I'm in the swimming pool business all my whole life, and we've done digging all over the place, and so I have lots of arrowheads and all kinds of pieces of things of that sort. I found so many things. I'm an amateur archaeologist by all means. I'm definitely not trained in it, but I do have the eye to be able to find these things, and I have a bunch of them through the years. But it's very interesting to see the different kinds of levels and the different kinds of stratus and different kinds of the coal and all that stuff up across the mountain. You can really see it.
Well, the limestone layer here at the base elevation that we are here, where the museum is at, we're in the limestone layer. And if you go over there where the water comes out of the spring, that's the reason the Cherokee Indians, in the route to Oklahoma, this was one of their destination stops. There was water. It had been fairly dry. Mm-hmm. The Tennessee River, according to the diary, had got low, and the barges couldn't go down the river. So that's the reason the Cherokee left on their own accord. There were no soldiers with them, and water was valuable for 1,000 people in these groups of Cherokee that left going to Oklahoma. They had to have water for their nightly stop. So a spring was important. And that spring comes out of limestone, and there's seashells in that limestone. But up on top of the mountain, there will be mainly ferns, much like what you would see in palm trees, those type things.
Right, palm fronds. Right, palm fronds.
But it's all ferns, and we've never found the first insect. So even though I know out west in Wyoming they find in the fossil beds they'll find fish and different things, but here it's nothing but plants.
Up in the higher elevations,
right. And that's what makes the coal. Where there were lots and lots of plants, it just fossilized over the years and turned into coal. And of course, coal is the commodity that made the coke, and the coke is what made the steel. So, that was a necessary thing. But lots of fossils, a lot of history around here.
This museum is full of just all kinds of very interesting things. It would take a whole day to come in here and take a look at everything that you have, I'm sure. But how did you get most of these things? Did they donated, or?
They're almost 100%. We have no revenue to buy artifacts, so almost everything that's in this museum has been donated by families. It started out as strictly a coal mining museum. I started collecting the things back in the 70s, right, 1970s. Yes. I had a business, and I actually built mine display. I had imitation coal mines. I had the lights and collections.
So you've always been interested in it.
So I've had it. Yeah, my grandfathers were both involved in the mining here. Mm-hmm. My grandfather on my mother's side died at age 33 from black lung. So I never knew him. My mom was, I think, 3 or 4 years old. So she barely remembers only his death, and they put his body in a wagon and took him to Grundy County, where he was originally from. But my other grandfather lived to be in his 70s. He became a mine boss. He had started mining as a child and then became a mine superintendent over large mines down at Dawes, Tennessee. So the family was involved. My dad was a blacksmith. He worked in the mines as a mine blacksmith, and that was keep the mining cars and the equipment up and running and all that type of stuff. So my brother worked in the mines, but I've never worked in the mines. I've been in a lot of coal mines. I'm a photographer. I used to go in, and when the mines were going on here, I used to photograph for them some.
You have some very interesting photographs. It's just amazing. All the artwork that is in here is just outstanding in every single room.
Well, I'm an artist, so I do coal mine art. That was a niche that nobody else was doing art about coal mining, and I kind of felt like that was something I was interested in. That was my hobby. I don't hunt, I don't fish, so I do artwork of coal miners. So the murals, most of them I've done, the maps and things, and of course as a photographer you can't I'm a starving artist, so I couldn't make a living doing artwork, so I went into photography, and the photography was what I did for years, but since it switched to digital, it's a different world now. And
here at the museum, do you take donations as people come in, or
we do not charge?
In,
no, it's always voluntary donations. We operate this park. We have 83 acres on the grounds here now, and it's entirely operated with donations. We have no paid staff. There's not one single person that receives any kind of payment, and we're totally dependent on volunteers. So the donation box gains us money, but our Bluegrass Festival in June, generates our operating revenue. So
Right.
we're totally dependent upon that festival to have a good festival, and that's how we make our revenue.
Well, I've got some good groups that I need to tell you about.
You need to
Play on the radio.
Ed Brown is he is the guy that books all of our groups,
Mm-hmm.
and he will turn 80 years old this year, and it will probably. He had said that he will continue. He's been doing this. This is our 32nd festival, I believe. This year it's going to be 32 years we've been doing this. So we started this whole operation in 1984. When we started the park, this was Dunlap's garbage dump. A lot of people do not realize there was in excess of 1,000 tons of garbage on the ground here.
Well, you can't tell it now.
No.
It's beautiful. It's a beautiful grounds.
It's through the help of the National Guard and the union in Chattanooga, the local 917 Operating Engineers Union. They loaned us equipment. The National Guard would work their engineering division, the combat engineers. They would do their once a weekend schedule up here, and
Yes, sir.
had equipment, and they actually dug a big hole, and we put all that garbage into a big hole. Mainly it was roofing,
Hard
burnt
material.
stuff had been burnt. Bowater Southern Paper Company gave us the land, and they donated the land. The building that we built here was not built with government funds. We do not receive funds from the city or county. Normally we do get very little money, if any, from federal government. We've got a few arts grants, but our large donations have all come from private individuals.
Right.
And a guy died, and he left us the money to build this museum. And his
Amen.
name was David Henry Gray. He was with the Ray County Historical Society, and when he died, he left us in his will, and that was $71,000. This is about a $400,000 building. We built it for $71,000. Now it's not finished. The upstairs is totally unfinished, but the downstairs.
There's huge. There's huge room. What, 3 or 4 big, huge rooms
This
here?
building is exactly where the original company store, and this is a full-size, 92 feet long by 46 foot replica of the original company store that used to be
Wow.
here. So we took the actual photographs, we dug down, found all the original 4 corners of the building, and it is back 1 foot. It's 1 foot north, 1 foot west of the original company store, so we could leave that original foundation line in place.
Oh,
But it's to the dimensions. A student at Chattanooga State was needing a project to do, and he volunteered to draw our blueprints for the building using the original photographs. So I worked with him. We built did the blueprints, and that's how the building got built.
so I owe my soul to the company store.
Company store was right here.
That's,
Tennessee Ernie Ford song, that's true. They paid the miners in company script. It was only good at the company store. So the money that they gave the miners was issued in a book of tickets. Now, we have a lot of different copies of different script here, but the money that they used here was paper, coupons. And we have no surviving piece of that. They were called D's, and they were green. So we did, that was, the original company's name was Douglas Coal and Coke. It later became the Chattanooga Iron and Coal Corporation. So when it went bankrupt in 1927, it was called the Chattanooga Iron and Coal Corporation.
Steam train operator that took the coal out of the coal mines and then dumped it up, and he would go back and get another load. He would do that day after day. And then he got so good at that, they let him have the operation of the main steam engine that left it from there and went on to Nashville. And so he done that for many years. And then after that, I was born in 1960. He was a steam operator at Baptist Hospital in Nashville, Tennessee. Back in them days, they heated and cooled
With steam.
Wow. And so he was an expert in steam and coal, I would have to say, I guess, probably because that's how they heated the Baptist Hospital at the time. But
If you're a steam, because steam is very powerful, and if you don't watch what you're doing, this is what happened to the original coal washer that stood over here behind the building in 1916. They had a boiler explosion.
Wow.
Because somebody wasn't watching the steam. It built up too much pressure, and it blew the boiler and blew it up. the resulting fire burned all the coal washer, the original one, and
Wow.
then they were stuck because they couldn't make coke anymore because they didn't have the crushed coal. So they borrowed a bunch of money from a bank in Birmingham, Alabama, and built a new coal washer over here about a quarter of a mile. It's part of the park's property now. And they built this coal washer. The only problem was someone scammed them and sold them an iron ore washer. And it never washed the first bit of coal. And the company went bankrupt, and that's the reason in 1927 they went under. So the lower coke ovens that we have where our stage is built today are the ovens that were built anticipating that big supply of coal coming out, or clean coal coming out of that coal washer. But the coal washer never worked and bankrupted the company. They supposedly spent $1 million. That's a lot of money.
Back in them days, that's a lot of dough.
There were
back in them days.
350 people working here in 1920.
Wow.
At the Dunlap coke ovens. There were only 700 people in the whole town of Dunlap.
Well, Dunlap could really use that right now, couldn't it?
Coal was a good provider for a lot of families.
Amen.
Regardless of what people think about the environmental problems with it. Without the coal, the United States would not have become the great country that is. Coal built the country. It still provides our electricity.
It does.
Everybody wants to think about all these clean sources of fuel, but coal is still a necessary thing, and it will be for a while. It would be nice to have everything that's non-polluting, but nothing is totally non-polluting.
Right.
So,
This is a very interesting museum. I see so many other things that are here that have nothing to do with coal, but yet I guess in a long round of it, I see Civil War things you have got. The old moonshining steels and all kinds of really neat things about this whole valley. Hey y'all, we're here at ValleyTV, channel 18, and I'm at the door of Skunk Works, East Skunk Works. If you know anything about Skunk Works, it was where Area 51 was at, and that's where they invented a bunch of these planes, but we're in Dunlap. So we're gonna go in and talk to these guys right quick about what they're doing building an airplane here at Skunk Works in Dunlap. Come on, let's go see. I'm up here in the middle of Dunlap, Tennessee, and with some veterans here, and they're rebuilding an old jet. What year do you think it's probably in the?
It's in the early 50s.
Early 50s.
Yes.
And what's your name?
Tommy Hickey.
Tommy Hickey. With Tommy Hickey and several of the other veterans here, they're working on the plane, putting it together for the memorial.
Memorial Park downtown, yes.
Wow. How long have you guys been working on this?
Since October of last year.
Since October of last year. Before that, the helicopter, right?
October of 16.
Oh, I got you.
Yeah.
And before that, the helicopter?
Yeah, we put a helicopter together, and we went to Oregon and got the helicopter. And it took us 27 months to completely restore it and get it in the park.
Wow. Yeah. So there's a whole lot to it.
Quite a bit.
What do you have to do? Sand it down and clean it?
We did. We had to strip it all the way down to the bare metal.
Right.
Get all the primer and everything off of it. And then we put new etching primer on it and bring it all the way back up.
Wow. So it's a big job messing with aluminum.
It is a big job.
It's a beautiful craft. What was its purpose? What did it do?
It was used in the Korean War in the beginning, and what they found out was it was too slow. It wasn't fast enough, and they were losing too many of them in combat. So they brought them back to the stateside and took them to Douglas, Georgia, and used them as trainer planes to train pilots.
Right.
Because it is a two-seater.
That makes it perfect, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's a two-seater, and they were training pilots down there.
Right.
In Georgia, and that's where we got it. We went to Georgia and got it. The Department of Defense, the Air Force, put it on loan to us with the understanding that we rebuild it back to its original state, condition and looks and appearance in order to put it in our park.
Wow. It's beautiful to me. I love stuff like this, machinery and things of that sort. I'm not a veteran, but I support our veterans 100%. And we just actually had a fundraiser up in Dunlap. Up in Pikeville over the weekend with some guys out of Chattanooga. Yeah. But what are you guys now doing right now? Putting both sections together?
Yes, we're putting the tail section onto the main part of the fuselage now, because we had to take it apart down there, completely apart, disassemble it in order to transport it back here.
Wow.
And then we were fortunate enough to get this building to put it in the dry. And
right here close to town too,
yeah,
by the way.
yes,
Yeah. It's really nice. It's so you. How much do you think the project will? Just a wild. Does anybody even know? I know y'all doing a lot of donating. You're all your time and all that kind of stuff.
It is, and the contributions and the support of the community here is they've been fantastic in helping us. So.
What would it cost to get a plane like this back up to flying status?
Gosh.
Millions?
Probably is. I have no idea.
Wow.
I have no idea.
We're really excited about it, and we're going to come back and visit you some more as your progress goes, and really enjoy it. And I appreciate your service and all you guys' service. Thank you so much for your service, gentlemen, for the town and for the country. God bless you.
Appreciate you being here.
Yes, sir. We're going to follow you guys along with it, and if you don't mind, we're going to kind of look around for a minute.
Make yourself at home and do whatever you want to do.
I'm so interested in it.
Yeah.
God bless you.
Bless you.
Hey, we're here at the hangar. This is a hangar now, isn't it? Because it's got a plane in it. And Dunlap, Tennessee, talking to some veterans. Could you guys tell me your names and what your rank was and what you did a little bit?
Go ahead, you. I was in the Air Force. My name is Hugh Jordan, by the way. I was a sergeant in the Air Force, and I worked in munitions, mainly bombs and rockets.
That's what my dad did.
Oh, was it?
At the USS Kearsarge, he loaded bombs on the bottom of these and armed them. But,
Yeah.
old Navy guy, though.
I've got some armament stuff pictures back there, too.
I say.
Yeah.
So what's your name?
Reggie Camp.
Randy Camp.
Yeah.
Mr. Camp.
I spent 28 years total. 24 of it was the reserves, and 4 years was active duty during the Vietnam clash, which I didn't have to go. Down at Moody Air Force Base, Georgia, and then I was on C-7s and C-130s at Dobbins for 24 years.
At Dobbins.
And I worked my way up, all the way from the ground up to Chief of Maintenance when I retired.
Wow, thank you both of you so much for your service. I appreciate you. Y'all are donating your time to put this plane back together for the people of Dunlap and the whole state, really, aren't you?
Well, these guys here started out with helicopters first, and you probably got pictures of that, but they were the main players, especially Tommy Hickey. And then we got involved. You might have been it from the start, but I helped them on the tail end of the Huey. And then we went and disassembled this one down in Douglas, Georgia, and we got it on a flatbed and brought it up here, and I think Tommy Hickey and I think it was
Tom Eggleston.
Was it Tom Eggleston? No,
Yeah.
it was Jackie Shell brought their truck and brought the tail up here. So they got it all here finally, and
What's this thing probably weigh?
it's gutted. It probably don't weigh over. What do you think, Tommy? 10,000 pounds? 4,000.
45? Wow.
So I'm a little bit light, but it's gutted.
It doesn't have a jet engine in it?
Don't have nothing in it that would make it ever fly again. It's just a shell.
It's just going to be a beautiful showpiece, so.
It'll be just exactly what you need for the part. And nothing in it that will injure anybody, or all the bad stuff's gone out of it. Just mainly like the picture you took, what you see.
Awesome.
Yeah.
In munitions, is that a little bit of a hair-raising experience lot, isn't it?
What was nice about it was bomb dumps by nature are way out, away from everything else.
Right.
So you're not bothered by a lot of generals and colonels.
I've got some pictures of my dad in his Navy suit and the old collar type thing, with hung way down here, and he was sleeping on some 5,000-pound ones, and it didn't bother him at all. You guys are amazing in what you've done and what you still do. My heart really goes out to you guys for serving this country like you have.
The biggest bomb that's made hauled on the C-130. They can only carry one. It's the MOAB, the one they dropped over there. You may have seen all over the news.
The mother bomb,
Mother load.
Yeah.
MOAB, mother of all bombs. Stand by. And that's hauled on a C-130. And when we build them at Lockheed, I work at Lockheed Aircraft too, and they've got a rack in the very back that they bring that out with a parachute, drag it out, and let it down to wherever they want it to go.
Oh,
And they used it in Vietnam to clear for the helicopters to land. It would clear off trees and everything. And then they could come in with a Huey and land with it.
with this style of plane, would it ever seen service in Vietnam?
Yeah.
Yes.
Probably the fighter version did. This was a trainer.
Right.
Yeah.
They had already figured out this one was too slow, like the other gentleman had said.
Probably later on, yeah,
Right.
because I think that this had one engine, and I don't know what the speed was on it, but it wasn't very fast.
I see. Well, thank you so much for your time today and taking your time out of what you guys are doing. I know you guys are working hard to put this thing back together, and for the state and for the county. And I want to say again, God bless you guys and thank you for your time.
Yep.
Hey, we're back here in the hangar in Dunlap, Tennessee, and I got an Army guy and I got a Marine guy. What's you guys' names?
I'm Johnny Cordell.
Johnny Cordell
Tom Eggleston.
and Tom Eggleston. Thank you guys so much for your service, and thank you for what you guys are doing for our town here, putting this together. Can you tell us a little bit about what you did in the service?
Well, first of all, I appreciate you all being here
Well, thank you. Thank you.
today. We need the publicity, and we need.
Wow. They gave me some more pictures.
This is not done, you know. It's all volunteer and all the donations, and we spent we probably over $200,000 or $300,000 already on this memorial.
Wow.
And all the equipment, easily over $300,000. So as far as what Tom here was an Army helicopter pilot in Vietnam, actually down on the ground. I was a Marine, but I was on board ship, so I was never down on the ground in Vietnam. But I also was in Tennessee National Guard. I was in Desert Storm. Along with my son, by the way. We served together, so, in Desert Storm. But again, this project, and you can see any of these guys, Tom and Hickey and Tom are both guys that do this. We'll take any amount, $5, $10.
So you really need donations.
We need donations very badly. We still have to build a pedestal to put this on, which will almost deplete our treasury.
Right.
So any donations that people want to make, we have an office on Spring Street across from the Dunlap Volunteer Fire Department. And somebody's there Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays from 9 to 1. Mm-hmm. They can come by and make a donation. If you live in Sequatchie County and you're a veteran or a member of your family who's a veteran, if you bring in their DD-214, which is a discharge paper, we can get their name on the Veterans Wall in the park. That's a $100 donation.
Wow, that's great.
We also are still selling memorial bricks. Anybody can buy a memorial brick, and those are $50. And like I said, we need donations so we can finish the park. Besides finishing on the jet, putting it on a pedestal, we want to put in-ground lighting underneath all of our exhibits to light them at night so you can really see them.
Right.
Right now, the only thing lit at night is the wall with the flags behind it, and naturally the eternal flame that we designed and had custom built for us. It looks like a bullet.
Right. I've seen it.
That burns 24 hours a day.
Right.
Provided the wind doesn't get too strong.
Right.
But we do.
It gets strong in this valley, doesn't it?
It does get strong in this valley.
It does, yes, sir. Well, we sure appreciate your service so much. We
Thank you.
appreciate what you guys are doing. And I know we're interrupting you guys putting this thing back together, putting two links together on it. But I would just love to reach out there to you folks. If you love your members of the country that have served, you need to be sure and donate to this. It'd be a great thing for you, and I promise you it will bless you, and it'll definitely bless our veterans. They've done so much to help us and so many things to protect us and give us our freedoms to where we can do and say what we want to here in America, and we appreciate you so much.
Thank you very much.
I'm very passionate about it, and I'm passionate about you guys. I never served, but I try to serve the ones that have served.
Thank you.
So like I said to other guys, God bless you guys. And like I said, thank you so much for your service.
Thank you, Mike.